Have you ever wondered how the face of Indian politics has changed over the years after independence? Let's take a journey back in time to the dawn of India's independence. Picture a newly liberated nation, brimming with hope, led by a cohort of leaders who were driven by a singular vision: the betterment of their country. These were men and women of great intellect, profound ideologies, and an unwavering commitment to their motherland. Their politics weren't about personal power or glory, but about creating a brighter future for their fellow citizens. They were the architects of our democracy, the torchbearers of our constitution. They believed in the power of unity, the strength of diversity, and the promise of prosperity. They were selfless, dedicated, and driven by the nation's interests. But, as the saying goes, the only thing constant is change. So, how did we transition from this to the power-hungry politics we see today? So when and how did this shift in focus occur from national interest to personal power gain, you may ask? Well, my friends, it's a tale as old as time, but let's delve into some specifics. It's important to understand that this shift didn't happen abruptly. Like the subtle change of seasons, it was slow, steady, and almost imperceptible at first. The political landscape of our great nation began to change, not with a bang, but with a whisper. Over time, the noble pursuit of serving the people and nation began to take a back seat. The focus started to shift towards personal power gain. But why did this happen? There are several reasons, but let's highlight a few key ones. Firstly, corruption. It's a term that has become almost synonymous with politics. It's the misuse of public power for private benefit. Over the years, some politicians began to see their positions not as a responsibility to serve, but as an opportunity to exploit. This led to a gradual erosion of the original ideals of public service. Secondly, nepotism. It's the practice of favoring relatives or friends, especially by giving them jobs. This is not uncommon in Indian politics. Many politicians started to use their power to benefit their own families and friends, rather than the people who elected them. Lastly, the sheer greed for power. Power, as they say, corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The intoxicating allure of power began to overshadow the initial motive of serving the nation. The thirst for power became so overwhelming that the focus shifted from national interest to personal power gain. But let's be clear, this shift didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process, driven by various factors. It was like a creeping vine, slowly but surely taking over a once beautiful garden. The garden of our nation's politics, once vibrant with the colors of service and sacrifice, now overshadowed by the dark hues of power and greed. This shift didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process, driven by various factors. Welcome to the era of power politics. But what exactly does this term mean? Power politics, as the name suggests, is the game of acquiring and maintaining power. It's a political landscape where decision-making and actions are largely driven by the pursuit of power, often at the expense of public welfare. In the Indian scenario, this has manifested in a number of ways. We've seen politicians who have gone from serving the people to serving their own interests. They've used their positions to amass wealth, influence, and control, often employing unethical and underhanded tactics to maintain their hold on power. Take, for instance, the numerous instances of political corruption that have come to light over the years. Politicians have been caught in scams involving billions of rupees, exploiting public resources for personal gain. Then, there are those who have used divisive politics to secure their position. They've played on religious, caste, and regional differences to create a divide among the people, using this divide to consolidate their own power base. And let's not forget the rampant nepotism we've seen within the political ranks. Family dynasties have emerged where power is passed down from generation to generation, often irrespective of merit or capability. The impact of this power politics on the people and the country has been profound. It has led to a disillusionment with the political system, a sense of apathy, and a lack of trust in political leaders. It has also hindered the country's progress, with resources being diverted for personal gain rather than being used for public welfare. Moreover, it has eroded the democratic values that the country was founded on. Instead of a government of the people, by the people, for the people, we've seen a shift towards a government of the powerful, by the powerful, for the powerful. Power politics has certainly changed the face of Indian politics, but at what cost? As we delve into this question, we need to remember that the power to change this lies with us, the citizens. It's up to us to demand accountability, to vote wisely, and to uphold the democratic values that our country stands for. With power politics at its peak, what does the current scenario look like, and how can we move forward? Our present political landscape is a complex tapestry woven with threads of power, greed, and opportunistic maneuvers. The common man, who is supposed to be at the center of this democratic process, often finds himself marginalized, his needs and aspirations lost in the cacophony of power politics. The consequences of this are evident: the widening gap between the rich and the poor, the rampant corruption, and the lack of basic amenities for many are all stark reminders of the fallout of power politics. But perhaps the most significant impact is the erosion of trust in our political system, a system that was designed to serve the people, not the power-hungry. So, how do we navigate this complex web? The answer lies in us, the citizens. We must remember that in a democracy, power is vested in the people. We elect our leaders, and it is our responsibility to ensure they uphold the principles of good governance. But how do we do that? One way is to demand transparency. In this digital age, information is power. We need to push for more transparency in the functioning of our government so we can hold our leaders accountable. Another way is to encourage active citizen participation. Democracy is not a spectator sport. We need to be involved, to question, to challenge, and to demand better. We need to remember that our vote is our voice and we must use it wisely. Lastly, we need to promote ethical politics. We need to support leaders who prioritize public welfare over personal gain, leaders who are driven by a desire to serve, not to rule. The road ahead is long and arduous, but the first step begins with awareness. We, the citizens, must understand our role in shaping our political destiny. The change begins with us, the citizens. It's time to demand more from our leaders and hold them accountable. As we've seen, the journey of Indian politics from post-independence to the present day has been a complex one. The shift from national interest to personal power gain, the rise of power politics, and the urgent need for a more accountable political system are all significant points to ponder. These are not mere historical observations, but pressing issues that continue to shape our nation. It's time to reflect, question, and demand more from our political leaders. After all, a nation's strength lies in its people and their ability to hold their leaders accountable.